So guys, in our previous session, we discussed about how we set up our forwarding tier, complete forwarding tier, where we configured heavy forwarder, universal forwarders, and the deployment server. Now, next we'll be moving on to the indexing tiers. Okay, so where we'll be setting up the indexers and the cluster master. So basically, the cluster master is like a manager of all these three indexes, right? So it maintains like the replication factors and search factors for all the indexers, and it also is used for pushing configurations in the form of configuration bundles to all these indexers. So basically, you have might have remembered in the deployment server we were pushing configuration in the form of apps. The same thing is done in the cluster master in the form of class configuration bundles, right? So these are the things that that cluster master takes care in a indexer clustering. So basically, in a clustering in a cluster full cluster indexing cluster, cluster master is actually known as the master node, and these three nodes are known as the client nodes, right? Or the slave nodes. So basically, so there are two things that we are going to do in this particular indexer clustering. So first thing is we are going to do configure receiving on indexer and heavy forwarder, right? So you might have seen, right? We have configured like the outputs.conf, like the in the forwarding tier, like it needs to forward the logs to somewhere. But for forwarding the logs, it should receive also, right? For receiving the logs, we have to use the inputs.conf file, and inputs.conf file has various other properties, guys. So we'll be discussing about all those in the data administration section. But in this particular section, we are going to see a crucial part of inputs.conf file, which is in enabling the listening. So that can be done with the help of a configuration file inputs.conf, and we have to put this particular stanza Splunk TCP colon backslash backslash 9997. So the port where it is going to start listening, right? So that is the thing that we are going to do. And coming back to the so our heavy forwarder is also listening, right? So it is listening from the universal forwarder. So for this heavy forwarder as well, we need to enable this listening, and all the three indexes also we need to enable this listening. Once that is done, we have to do enable the configure master and slave configuration. So what is this master slave configuration? This is nothing but the indexer clustering. So in the basically the path is opt splunk etc system local. So in this particular path there will be a file present called server.conf. So server.conf configuration file generally contains all the properties regarding the servers. Okay, everything will be present. So inside that a small part is again this clustering part as well. Okay, so basically, so now in this particular clustering concept, so in the master node we need to configure. So the master node, as you guys remember, so our deployment deployer, deployment server, cluster master, everything is in a single server, right? So in that same cluster master, we have to go inside and we need to put this particular stanza, right? So I'm going to explain you that. So clustering. So clustering means this clustering means that we are stating something regarding indexer clustering, right? So we are telling it that this is a master mode, and what is the replication and search factor. So replication factor means the data which comes to one particular index, right? For example, if this data heavy forward is putting data in one of the right, it will not be putting in all the three indexes. Depending upon the load balancing, it will put in one of the indexes. So the cluster master will take care of the index, the data which is present in one indexer should be present in all the three indexes. And search factor means the same thing. So the data, at least two copies of the data should be searchable as well, right? So that is what the search factor and replication factor we need to put. And pass for sim key is equal to some secret. So there should be some credentials that should be kept here. So this is what it is used in order for the master and the node slaves in order to communicate with each other. So while communicating, they will be passing this particular secret keys in order to communicate with each other. So this is what the configuration is regarding the complete configuration file. So now coming down to the indexers. So we have three indexes, right? So in that same three indexes also the clustering stanza should be present, so which states that this is a indexer clustering. Now after that, few configuration changes, like now as you saw, it is a master mode, but instead of that it is a slave modes, right? And master URI. So what is this master URI? Master URI is nothing but the URI of the cluster master, basically the master mode. So that URI we need to mention here, and the same credential that we are going to do, right? So that's what we are going to do. right now. So first of all, I'm default, I'm going to the master slave configuration right now, or basically the cluster master right now, where I'm going to log in right now. So this is my cluster master. So parallelly, I will be showing you the GUI as well. Okay, let me quickly log in there and open my browser as well. So once I become the root, now I need to go to opt splunk slash etc slash system slash local. So by default, this server.conf file is present. If it is not there, you can create this particular configuration file and you can make your changes, right? So we need to do nano on this configuration file. So I'm sorry. Yeah. So you see there are many other configuration as well. We don't care about other configurations as of now. What we need to do is just paste this particular configuration. So clustering for the master clustering. So just copy this and paste it, right? So I'm not saving it right now. Let me, before going there, settings, and you need to go here, indexer clustering. Previously we are doing the forward, for the forwarding tier we go to forwarder management. For the indexing tier we need to go to indexer clustering. Just click over here and go over here, right? As of now, you see, right, the indexer clustering is not enabled. In order to enable that, just click on enable, right? Then it automatically gets enabled and it will ask you whether it is master node or client node. It will ask you from the UI, but we can do it from UI as well as from the console as well. So now I will save this. Now what I will do, just going to restart this server. Now see the cluster, the master node is restarted. Let's log in and see the status of the indexer clustering, what it shows right now, right? So now what you see here, right, guys, it shows, the panel has changed. It shows here indexer clustering is equal to manager node. So it shows like it is the manager node which is present right now here, right? So that's what it is showing here. Now once we add the peer nodes, or the client slave nodes, we are going to see more things here right now, right? So everything, there are many configurations that we can do it from here as well. But as we are doing everything from the backend, we will be doing the same everything from there itself. So let's exit out. Now the next thing what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to log into the indexes one by one. Okay, so two things what I'm going to do. First is enabling this inputs.conf, like enabling the receiving. So I'm just quickly, I'll go there. Sorry, I think I didn't copy the IP address, indexer one. Let's go to there first. Let's copy this. Wait. So parallelly, I'll open the indexer one as well, and I'll show you. Okay. Meanwhile, it is launching. What I will do here, I will first I will going to enable receiving on this particular server. So for that, I need to go to cd opt splunk etc system local. Okay, so here if you see, we need to have a inputs.conf file which is already not present. So what I can do, nano inputs.conf file. Okay, now just copy paste this particular stanza over there, right? So now if you go to settings and if I show you forwarding and receiving, if I click on configure receiving, you won't see anything here, right? Because the receiving port is not yet configured. Now after I restart the server, you'll be able to see few things. So before restarting, let me do few configuration more as well. Now we are in the local folder as well. So now let me go to the server.conf file and let me paste this slave mode now, right? So let me paste this and save this. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to restart this server. Hmm. Okay, let me reload this, whether I'm able to see my, still I'm not able to see my cluster. Okay guys, I think the web interface is not coming up because there is one error which is showing here. Depreciated key in stanza clustering in OPT. So it's like the new release. So instead of master URI, we have to use the manager URI, guys. So let me quickly change that as well. Okay, so these are some new releases which I am using right now. That's why the configuration also changes. So let us do that as well and see if we are able to see the. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm again going to nano server.conf file. So instead of master URI, I'm going to paste the manager URI. Right. So let me restart the server again and see whether we are able to do it or not. It is Splunk, bin, again Splunk, and restart. See, that error is not, we are not able to see now. So let us see again whether it is coming up or not. Okay, guys. So there is one more changes that we had to do. Actually, I forgot to mention here. So in the slave clustering, what we have to do is we have to put up replication port colon backslash 8080. So what does this means, right, guys? So the data which is present in one indexer. Let me get back to my diagram. So this is the first indexer, right? If suppose the data is going to that particular indexer, now if that data needs to be passed to the indexer 2 and indexer 3, it happens through the replication. The process is known as replication. So we need to even provide the port as well, the replication port colon backslash 8080. So that's what was missing in our configuration file, and our Splunk was not starting because of that. So I found out through the Splunk daemon logs. So let me quickly change that as well now. Okay. So I feel now everything is good. So let's proceed with our restart. Sorry, OPT Splunk bin Splunk restart. Okay, let's see now. Great. Now we see, right? So all our errors are gone now. Now if we see, if we reload this page, also I will reload this page as well. Right. If you see here on the manager node, the configuration has little bit changed, right? So previously we were only able to see this search head panel, but now if we go to the peers, we are able to see one peer. So when a slave mode, basically a indexer which joins a indexer cluster, it is called as a peer, right? So that is the peer which we configured right now, and we are able to see that peer. Okay, so as of now you see some data is not searchable, search factor is not met, replication factor is not met, because only we have added only one indexer. Once we add both other two indexers as well, then it will be getting fine. Now let me log into the first indexer and show you both the things have been added or not. So basically two things we did, right? We added it to the indexer cluster and also we added the receiving port as well. So let us quickly check that. Great. Guys, if you remember from our like 5 minutes back when we were seeing this, there was no listening port. Now 9997 got enabled. Great. So these are the few things that we need to do in an indexer. So once that is done, now let's do the same thing for the other two indexers as well. So let us exit from this particular session and move to the next indexer. Let's do it the same for the indexer 2 as well. So I'll become root here first. Now I'll go to nano slash opt slash splunk slash etc slash system slash local. Okay, so I don't have inputs.conf file, so I'll just do a nano over that and it will get open. So my first task will be copying this particular thing. So which is the enabling the receiving on this particular server. Okay, that being done, save it. Now once inputs.conf is done, now you need to go to server.conf file and you need to add the clustering stanza and the replication port. These two things are very important. We need to add that as well. Once that is done, just go to opt splunk bin splunk and restart. Great. So what I'll do, see, automatically when that Splunk indexer 2 got the changes got in effect, we got the second indexer even been showing in the PS2. So let me quickly go back now and exit this and do the same things for the indexer 3 as well. I'll again become root here, then I'll go to nano slash opt slash Splunk etc system local, then inputs.conf. Once you open that file, you need to paste this listening configuration. Okay, that being done, now what we need to open is server.conf file and we need to enable the clustering, which is the slave clustering and the replication port. That being done, now what we will do, we are going to restart the server. Sorry, not the server, only the Splunk. The web server doesn't seem to be available. Let us see if there is some issue that is happening here again. Okay, guys, the Splunk is up now. If you see here, so there was no issues actually. The web interface was not coming up. Now, if you see here, guys, all the three indexes are reporting here, and my data is searchable as well. Search factor is also met. Even the replication factor is also met, right? So this is what all about is how you create a clustering master or a cluster master, and you deploy the slave nodes and it becomes a complete indexer clustering. So there is one more part inside the indexer clustering, that is how to deploy the configuration bundles in the indexer cluster with the help of the cluster master, because cluster master can also deploy these configurations and push it to all the indexes. But that we are going to see in the data administration section, where we'll see how we put indexes in all the three indexes that we are going to see in that particular session. Okay, so that is now our bottom two layers are done. We have completed with our indexer clustering and we are completed with the forwarding tier as well. Now we will see how to deploy how to configure the deployer and the search head clustering.